Right, here's the walkthrough. I'm gonna play through the entire thing semi-slowly and then break it down. Alright, so it's in E harmonic minor, and it's basically the Yngwie type 6-note repeating pattern in the ascending beginning here, and then we just descend in a harmonic minor scale. And well, we just descend the actual scale from the minor third down to the root here. So the 6-note pattern, and if you're not familiar with that one, if we number the notes from left to right, 1, 2, 3, the actual pattern will be 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. Right, so this is really popularized by Yngwie, I would say, and I know that Paul Gilbert said this was basically the thing that he learned to pick fast, the first thing he learned to pick fast, so it's a pretty good one to work on. Right, so again, this is going to be in octaves. I like doing that because it gives you some sort of continuity instead of just moving along in whatever scale you're doing it in. So the basic first octave will be, and we'll repeat that starting on this G instead. So, right. So the first one then will be 10, 7, 9, 10, 9, 7. And then the same thing on the D string. And then on the G string we have 11, 8, 9, 11, 9, 8. And then on the G string again we got, this is where the octave thing starts, we got 12, 9, 11, 12, 11, 9. Then we have 13, 10, 12, 13, 12, 10. And then on the high E string we have 14, 11, 12, 14, 12, 11. And then we end up on the 15th fret with a downstroke. So right. So now we just descend in the E harmonic minor scale. And the difference between a harmonic minor scale and the regular natural minor is only one note. So every time you get to the flat 7, you just play a natural 7. So, whoops. Right, so I'm gonna give you the frets anyway, so don't worry. So we got 15, 14, 12 on the high E string. Then we got a bit of a stretch here. Let's see, 16, 13, 12 on the B string, and the G string is 14, 12, 11. D string is 14, 13, 10. And on the A string we have 14, 12, 10. And on the final string we have just 2 notes because we get to the root here. So we got 14 and 12. So pretty simple to practice, but it might take a while to get used to this pattern. So for starters, just to build a good foundation here, I would do this with diatonically, so whatever scale you want, just moving it along in you know, just move it along in scale, up and down each position. You can be systematic about it, or just sort of half improvise where you go. But also do it with the 4 different 3-note per string fingerings. So you do it with 1, 2, 3, so that would be then 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4, and 2, 3, 4. So and do that all over the fretboard. So one thing you could do if you're really new to this stuff, just do it on 1 string at a time. So you start with 1, 2, 3, and just do it on the high E string like this. Keep moving it up one fret at a time, and do that with the other 3 fingerings as well. Once you start getting used to that, to build some speed, instead of trying to you know, metronome this thing, you know, notch by notch and getting up to high speed, that never worked for me. I'm sure it can work, but never worked for me, and I don't know anyone with a good picking technique that has done it that way either. But again, I'm not saying that it can't work, but really most players that I know of has actually not done this. So it's mainly, I think for me, the formula is spending a lot of time doing really, you know, controlled and synchronized work, where you have perfect synchronization and get, you know, a lot of repetitions in. And we're talking, you know, thousands of repetitions here in total, right? And you sort of build your technique bank by doing that, because if you've done this for 1,000 times perfectly, the chances are when you try it faster, it will eventually work. But if you sit around doing this, you know, just getting this hand going and flopping the fingers around, that will not lead to speed, in my opinion. With that said though, to get the speed up, you can do it in shorter bursts. So you would go, again with this one, just do the first 2 notes and pause in between. And make sure that these have to be synchronized. If you start doing slop here, you need to slow it way down. But otherwise... And the pause here is to prevent you sitting around doing this, which will just lead to tension, right? So, and then when that feels good, you add the 3rd note. Right? And then when that feels good, you add the 4th. And then the 5th. And the 6th. And then you have a complete loop. Like that. So once you get that, you can actually start doing this, you know, put the metronome close to the tempo you want to reach, but not, you know, too... If you can't do this at, let's say, 16th note triplets at 80 BPMs, and you like, oh, my goal tempo is 16th note triplets at 160, that probably won't work. But if you shoot for something like 110 or 115 or whatever, you might get it. So, and the whole point is that if you can do it with the right hand, like that, in time, and also with the left hand, it should work when you put it together. But don't shoot for like several repetitions at once. Shoot for 1 complete repetition, and you stop on the next beat. So you go. And once you can control that, you try doing it with 2 beats. So, right. And once you can do that, you try 3 beats and 4 beats, and eventually you'll be able to do it more continuously. So I hope this makes sense. So try that out, and this is actually a good strategy for most anything you want to get up to speed. But I think it's really important that you lay the groundwork as well with your Netflix practice, where you just sit around repeating things perfectly with no mistakes, and just putting all those repetitions into the good technique bank, right? And then you start combining this stuff. So you do a lot of slow work, and then you do the faster work, and then the metronome is really good for checking your timing and also making sure that you can do it consistently. So if you can do it at you know, 120 BPMs, 16th note triplets, you should also be able to do it at 110, because if not, there's something screwy going on with your technique. So, and one way to avoid that is to make, if you get it to 120, let's you know, I'm not sure of that, something like that, right? And just look at your right hand and left hand, see what does it look like, and can you actually slow that down? So and then try keeping that motion as close as possible to the fast version, because then you know that the fast version, you know that what works. But to not run into these like speed bumps on the way, you need to keep the motion consistent. So yeah, that's about it. So try that with this one and anything else you're working on, and I think you can actually start seeing some results. And it's kind of fun to work on as well. So yeah, if you have any questions and any of this seems confusing, just post them below and I'll try to help you out as soon as possible. Thanks again for your support, and see you in the next one. Bye.